The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of DigiAll. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to DigiAll Tech News. Today is Monday, February 9th, 2026. I'm Kylie Brooks, and this is where technology becomes clear and engaging. AI firms are bringing back extreme work cultures, with some companies openly recruiting for 72-hour work weeks. Corporate leaders face accusations of AI washing as they cite artificial intelligence to justify mass layoffs. The $3 trillion private credit market is showing cracks as AI threatens software company revenues. Big Tech's AI spending spree is creating shortages everywhere, from computer chips to construction workers. 1 in 5 Americans plan to use AI tools to help file their taxes this year, but experts warn caution is essential. Let's start with something that honestly makes me uncomfortable. We're seeing a return to extreme work cultures in the AI sector that echo China's infamous 9-96 schedule. That's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Rilla, a New York AI startup, is actually advertising jobs with approximately 70-hour in-office weeks. They're looking for candidates with what they call Olympian drive and infinite ambition. The head of growth, Will Gao, describes a culture where inspiration might keep you working until 2 or 3 in the morning, and then you just start late the next day. This reminds me of the tech boom in China a decade ago, when Alibaba's Jack Ma called this kind of schedule a blessing. But here's what happened there. It sparked massive backlash for violating labor laws and ignoring overtime pay, and the government eventually cracked down in 2021. The health risks here are serious. Japan has a word for it, karoshi, which means death from overwork. WHO and ILO data shows that working more than 55 hours a week contributed to 745,000 deaths from stroke and heart disease in 2016 alone. And the productivity argument doesn't even hold up. Studies show that after 40 hours, productivity plateaus. Workers putting in 70 hours often produce the same output as those working 50. Yet some AI startups are creating what they call hacker house environments, seeking people who are addicted to work like it's a video game. Critics, including venture capitalist Didi Daz, warn this approach leads to burnout, alienates families, and discriminates against older workers who have lives outside the office. Speaking of troubling trends, there's a practice emerging that experts are calling AI washing. Corporate leaders are increasingly citing artificial intelligence as the reason for mass layoffs, framing job cuts as necessary for innovation rather than what they often really are, profit-driven decisions. In 2025, AI was blamed for over 54,000 layoffs, according to Challenger, Gray & Christmas. Amazon cut 16,000 jobs in January alone, after slashing 14,000 in October. A memo from VP Beth Galetti tied those October cuts to AI's transformative potential for leaner operations. Hewlett-Packard's CEO plans 6,000 cuts to boost AI productivity, while Duolingo's Luis von Ahn has talked about phasing out contractors for AI-handled tasks. But here's the reality check. Forrester's research indicates only 6% of US jobs might actually automate by 2030. Their VP, JP Gounder, warns that rushed AI adoptions could take 18 to 24 months, and often fail. Fabian Stephanie from Oxford Internet Institute points out that calling it AI allows CEOs to avoid scrutiny over decisions that are really about cutting costs. Yale economist Martha Gimbel highlights that pandemic overhiring during the era of low interest rates better explains many of these reversals. And there's already skepticism showing through. Amazon's Andy Jassy walked back AI claims, calling the cuts cultural instead. Duolingo clarified there were no full-time losses. An anonymous Amazon AI user believed her layoff was really about saving costs through cheaper labor. The pattern suggests AI is being used as cover for decisions that have more to do with the bottom line than technological necessity. Now let's talk about money, because the $3 trillion private credit industry is starting to show some serious cracks. Last week, when Anthropic unveiled advanced AI capabilities that can handle complex professional tasks, the kind software companies typically charge for, it triggered alarm bells throughout the financial sector. The fear is that AI could disrupt software company revenues, weaken their cash flows, and increase default risks on the loans these companies have taken out. The market reaction was swift and brutal. Asset managers with private credit exposure saw massive drops. Ares Management fell over 12%, Blue Owl Capital dropped more than 8%, KKR declined nearly 10%. For context, the S&P 500 only fell 0.1% that day, and the Nasdaq dropped 1.8%. Since 2020, software and tech firms have been prime targets for private credit, making up roughly 17% of US business development company investments by deal count. UBS is warning that in a severe AI disruption scenario, private credit default rates could hit 13%. That's compared to 8% for leveraged loans and just 4% for high-yield bonds. Johns Hopkins professor Jeffrey C. Hook points out that software loans are already facing challenges like liquidity strains and extensions. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon has been warning about hidden problems in this sector. He calls them cockroaches, and there are yellow flags everywhere: opacity, explosive borrowing growth, high leverage, and a lack of transparency. Moody Analytics' Mark Zandi sees substantial credit problems ahead. The industry might be able to handle current issues, but if these trends continue, we could be looking at something much more serious. The AI boom isn't just disrupting industries, it's literally consuming resources at a scale that's creating shortages across the economy. 5 major AI companies, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Oracle, are expected to spend around $700 billion this year on data centers and advanced chips. That's nearly double what they spent in 2025, and it rivals 3/4 of the entire US military's annual budget. These firms insist this investment drives revenue growth, but skeptics are asking a fair question. Will these enormous costs actually pay off? JP Morgan's analysis suggests the tech sector needs an additional $650 billion in yearly revenue just for viable returns, and that figure has likely gone up since then. OpenAI, the company that started this whole race with ChatGPT in 2022, is projected to face losses exceeding $100 billion by the end of the decade. Investor Roger McNamee warns that US AI investments since mid-2022 already surpass all previous tech spending combined, and the scarcities this is creating are real and widespread. Apple is struggling to source chips for its devices, which is inflating memory prices and forcing smartphone and PC costs up by 5% or more. Price hikes that could persist for years and threaten smaller manufacturers. Data center construction surged 32% in 2025, and now these projects are competing for electricians and materials, which is delaying housing developments, factories, and healthcare projects. Costs are rising, and tariffs are making it worse. OpenAI has called for expanded trade training, estimating that data centers will eventually demand 20% of all skilled tradespeople. The funding concentration is another problem. 1/3 of 2025 venture capital went to just the top 1% of startups, mostly elite AI companies. This is starving mid-sized firms of capital and potentially undermining broader innovation, according to Silicon Valley Bank. Brookings expert Darrell West cautions that AI's resource dominance could erode economic vitality across other sectors by draining capital and talent. While AI promises significant rewards, its current demands are causing broad disruptions we're all starting to feel. And finally, something more practical. Tax season is officially here, and it turns out 29% of Americans are planning to procrastinate on filing their taxes this year, according to IPX 1031's 7th annual tax procrastination report. That tracks with the fact that 60% of people view tax filing as either stressful or overly time-consuming. To deal with this burden, 1 in 5 people intend to use AI tools to help prepare their tax returns this year. Now, before anyone rushes to plug their financial information into an AI chatbot, experts are stressing the critical need for human review and professional guidance. Emily Fanius, a spokesperson for IPX 1031, put it clearly: while 1 in 5 may use AI to assist with filing, it's extremely important that people also look over the advice they get from AI themselves and consult a tax professional. Don't just take whatever AI tells you and run with it for your tax returns. The official deadline for federal tax returns is April 15th, so there's still plenty of time to start early and ensure accuracy without the last-minute rush. So that's what we're watching today. Extreme work cultures making a troubling comeback, corporate AI washing in layoffs, financial market concerns over AI's impact on software loans, resource shortages rippling through the economy, and AI entering tax season with necessary caution. We'll continue monitoring these developments as they unfold. Thank you for staying informed with Digital Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.